History has shown us that humans can conquer almost any environment, but some places still feel like they belong to another world. Deep within forbidden valleys and atop frozen peaks, there are villages that time almost forgot, and that modern civilization can barely reach. We are diving into the stories of people who call the impossible home. From a town of dolls in Japan to a gold mining outpost on the edge of space in Peru, these are the most breathtaking and hazardous locations on Earth. Why do these cultures persist against such overwhelming odds? Today, we unlock the gates to these hidden realms. If you love discovering the extraordinary, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Let's embark on this cinematic journey through the world's most defiant villages. Barrio, the valley. In the clouds high in the heart of Borneo, Malaysia, there is a place where the earth touches the sky. Barrio is a plateau sitting 1,000 meters above the sea, locked away by mountains that look like giant green walls. For a long time, the only way in was a tiny plane, or walking for days through the oldest jungle on the planet. Here, the air is cool and smells of wet earth. People live in wooden houses among hills that are always green. They grow a special rice that tastes like nowhere else. It is a world of peace, where time seems to have forgotten to move. When you look down from the peaks, the valley looks like a secret island, hiding in a sea of clouds and rough stone. Being hidden in the clouds is the closest thing to heaven today. Inefunaya, the boat garage. On the coast of Kyoto, Japan, the houses have a secret. They are called funaya, and they are built right on the edge of the water. These buildings have 2 floors. The bottom floor is a garage for a boat, and the top floor is where the family sleeps. There are more than 230 of these wooden homes following the curve of the Blue Bay. From the ocean, It looks like a long row of dark wood floating on the crystal waves. This style started in the 17th century, so fishermen could start working the second they woke up. Life here follows the rhythm of the tide, and the sound of waves hitting the boat is the only song you need. Having a boat in your living room is living with the sea. Nagoro, the village of dolls. Deep in a quiet valley in Japan, there is a village where the residents do not breathe. Nagoro is a silent place where the school closed because there were no children left. Today, inside the old wooden classrooms, life-sized rag dolls sit at the desks. You can find these dolls at bus stops, in the fields, and sitting by front doors. They represent the neighbors who moved away or passed away. With fewer than 30 real humans and more than 300 dolls, the village feels like a dream. It is a way to remember those who are gone, filling the empty spaces left by loneliness in the high mountains. Filling silence with dolls is a beautiful way to not feel alone. May Kampong, the whisper of the forest. Hidden on a mountain slope, 1,300 meters high in Thailand, May Kampong is a village born from the trees. The wooden houses climb the mountain like stairs, following a small, cold river. The air is always fresh and carries the scent of tea and coffee, which the people grow to live. The streets are so narrow and steep that neighbors have to live very close to each other in total harmony with the jungle. It is a place of deep peace where modern life has not destroyed the wood or the silence. Here, the mountain is not something to climb, but the very floor that holds up every single home. Living where the forest whispers is finding peace in the mountain. Bantayan Island, the edge of the blue abyss. Living on Bantayan in the Philippines means knowing the sea is the boss. The fishing villages sit on low sand that the ocean tries to take back every single year. After huge storms wiped away thousands of houses, the people just built them again on the same shore. Life depends on dried fish and the trade of the waves. But the sea level rises a few millimeters every year, pushing these families against the limit of survival. It is a constant fight against the sand washing away, where every sunrise is a gift won from the deep blue water that both feeds them and threatens their very homes. Living on the edge is loving the sea despite its storms. Amphawa, the Canal of Memory. In Thailand, there is a village that refuses to trade the water for the road. Amphawa is a maze of wooden houses built on the mud of a narrow canal. For over 100 years, these old structures have stood against the changing tides. The heart of the village is the floating market, where boats only 5 meters long carry coal stoves to cook amazing food right on the water. The paths are narrow wooden walkways where life happens at a very slow pace. It is a world of small boats and bridges that reminds us that the best way to trade is through the river and hard work. The river is the street that always leads us back home. Doi Chiang Dao, the mountain maze. In northern Thailand, there are villages hanging from a limestone mountain over 2,000 meters high. What makes this place dangerous is that the ground under the houses is full of more than 40 natural caves and tunnels. It is a hollow maze where the earth could drop at any moment. The trails are narrow paths cut into the edge of cliffs where one wrong step is the end. The people have lived on this vertical land for thousands of years, moving between the thick jungle and the sharp gray rocks. It is life on the roof of a world that is completely empty on the inside. Walking on a hollow mountain is trusting fully in Mother Earth. Duong Lam, the soul of stone. Just outside Hanoi, Vietnam, there is a village made of a material that feels eternal, laterite stone. Its walls are half a meter thick and have a dark orange color, hard as cement and strong enough to last for centuries. The streets are a maze of old bricks designed to confuse any strangers who enter. Some houses are more than 300 years old, holding 15 generations under the same roof of ancient tiles. In the stone courtyards, families dry their rice and talk. It is a living museum where time does not run. It just sits in a corner, waiting for you to look at it. Laterite stone keeps the warmth of 1,000 years of family stories. Phuc, the fabric of time. In Hanoi, a village has survived for 1,000 years thanks to a single thread of silk. Phuc is a maze of houses where the sound of the machines never stops. In 1931, its silk reached all the way to France, showing that a small town can touch the whole world. Today, the modern city tries to surround it, but the village stands strong. Walking its streets, you see bright silk hanging to dry in the sun, while families work together on old machines. It is a quiet fight made of soft threads, proving that tradition is stronger than any big building made of cold cement. A silk thread is able to hold up a 1,000-year history. Bat Trang, fire in the veins. On the banks of the Red River in Vietnam, there is a village that breathes smoke and clay. Bat Trang has spent 700 years turning mud into art. Here, houses are not just homes. They are factories filled with giant ovens made of thick brick. For centuries, families have lived among piles of coal and pottery waiting to be burned. It is an economy made of fire, where the risk of a broken piece is the risk of losing everything. Walking the streets means seeing history written in the white dust on the ground, a place where man and fire work as one single team. Mud becomes eternal when the fire of the family touches it. Kalinga, the warrior's nest. In the mountains of the northern Philippines, villages cling to slopes so steep they look impossible. Some are in valleys surrounded by peaks that measure almost 3,000 meters high, like a building with 800 floors. The houses are made of wood and have 8 sides, built to be stable on the tilted ground and keep people safe. This land has a history of warriors and peace pacts that are still kept today. It is a rough landscape of deep rivers and giant mountains, where staying alive is not just a choice, but a gift of strength passed down through the blood of many generations. Living at the top is being as strong as the mountain. Damnoan Saduak, the Water Garden. In Thailand, water is the blood of the land. This system of canals was made in the 19th century to connect farms with the rest of the world. Today, thousands of acres of fruit gardens depend on these waters. Wooden houses on tall poles line the canals, connected by tiny bridges and docks. Life is a dance of boats filled with colors, fruits, vegetables, and flowers that travel by water instead of trucks. It is a great example of how humans can turn difficult land into a fertile paradise, as long as they learn to respect the constant flow of the Green River current. A boat full of flowers is the most beautiful image of work. Kawa-ijen, the yellow hell. In Indonesia, there are men who go down every day into the heart of an active volcano. The crater of Kawa-ijen hides a lake of acid and piles of pure sulfur that glow with a bright yellow color. The miners carry up to 90 kilograms of rock on their shoulders, climbing up and down stone paths under toxic gas. It is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, done in a place that looks like another planet. Between metal pipes and constant smoke, these men show that a human being is brave enough to walk into hell just to bring food home to the family. Carrying the weight of a volcano is a test of true courage. Boscalan, the path of the tattoo. To reach Boscalan in the Philippines, you must climb 1,000 stone steps on foot. There are no cars here. 1,200 meters high. The village hangs from the mountain, and everything they eat must be carried up by hand on narrow trails. But people from all over the world come here for one reason: the traditional tattoo made with thorns and bamboo sticks. It is a tradition thousands of years old that refuses to die in a village that seems to touch the clouds. Between rice fields and wooden houses, life is a constant climb for both the body and the soul. Each tattoo is a mark of respect for the mountain and time. Palawan, the jungle maze. The island of Palawan is a strip of land 1,200 kilometers long, full of mountains and hidden bays. Here, many villages are totally alone. Behind them are thick jungles and stone walls 2,000 meters high, and in front, the endless sea. The only way in or out is by wooden boat. It is an extreme world where people live between the roar of the trees and the whisper of the ocean. These communities have learned to read the wind and respect the forest, living in a perfect balance where nature makes the rules and humans simply learn how to follow them. Where the jungle touches the sea, life finds its own way. Harau Valley, the stone prison. In Indonesia, there is a valley that looks like a giant room without a roof. The vertical rock walls rise more than 500 meters, like 3 Eiffel Towers put on top of each other. Under these massive walls, people grow rice and raise buffalo, living literally in the shadow of stone giants. There is only one narrow way into the valley, making it feel like a natural fort. Seven waterfalls fall straight from the jungle above into the valley, bringing both life and danger. It is a place where humans feel very small, protected and trapped by the greatness of the ancient stone. Feeling small before the mountain is learning the true meaning of respect. Anzulezo, the village on stilts. In Ghana, there is a village called Unzulezo that refuses to touch the dry ground. All its houses and paths are built on wooden poles in the middle of a lake. There are no foundations made of cement. Each family is responsible for fixing the logs that hold up their home. About 500 people share this world of platforms and bridges, living in a community that seems to float on the quiet water. It is a perfect example of how to live in the wetlands, showing that a whole society can be built without needing a single meter of solid earth under their feet. Tagbanwa, the kingdom of the reefs. The Tagbanwa people live in a place where the borders are not walls, but coral reefs. Their home covers 22,000 hectares of sea and land in the Philippines. Because the limestone ground is too hard to plant seeds, they live in bamboo houses near the shore and eat what the sea gives them. Their ancestors were already trading bird nests 800 years ago. The caves in the cliffs hold the remains of their grandfathers, reminding them they have been here forever. It is a life lived between sharp rocks and deep water, a place where the past and the present float together. Sagada, resting in the air. In the mountains of the Philippines, the dead do not rest under the ground, but hang from the cliffs. In Sagada, wooden coffins are tied to the limestone walls, some 30 meters high. It is a tradition 2,000 years old that tries to bring souls closer to heaven and away from animals. Family members use ropes and ladders to carry the coffins up in a ritual of bravery and love. Over time, the wood becomes part of the rock and the forest, creating a holy landscape where the ancestors watch over the valley from the highest point they can reach. Being close to the sky is the most beautiful way to rest. La Rinconada, the roof of the world. At more than 5,000 meters high in Peru, the air is so thin that every breath is hard work. La Rinconada is the highest human town on the planet, a city of gold built on ice and rock. "50,000 people live here, fighting the extreme cold and the lack of oxygen to work in the mines." There are no trees and no running water, only metal houses crowded against the dark tunnel of the mountain. It is an experiment of human survival at the very edge of what is possible, where the need to survive is stronger than the fear of dying from the thin air. Living where there is no air is the most extreme fight. Nong Kia, the guardian of the river. In northern Laos, a small town lives locked between giant limestone walls. The cliffs, 500 meters high, surround the valley like they are giant stone guards. With very little flat space, the houses are squeezed against the riverbank, which is the main road of life. During the wars of the last century, these same mountains offered caves to keep the people safe. Today, when you cross the bridge that joins the two sides of town, you feel the power of the earth that made this place millions of years ago, hiding it away from the noise and the rush of time. Stone walls are the eternal hug of nature in this hidden valley. Asmat River villages, the wooden path. In the Papua region of Indonesia, the ground is nothing but mud and water. Because of this, the Asmat people build their houses on very tall poles. The most amazing thing is their wooden walkways, bridges that go for more than 100 meters, connecting the homes above the swamp. There are no streets here, only these high paths made of logs. Everything happens on the river, fishing, traveling, and children playing. It is a life hanging over the mud, where human smarts have turned a thick wetland into a network of homes that breathe with the movement of the tide. Walking on logs is learning how to keep your balance in life. Phuc, the rock maze. In northern Vietnam, there is a village that looks like it was carved from one single piece of earth. In Phuc, almost all the houses are made of huge stone blocks that have lasted more than 400 years. The walls are 60 centimeters thick, which keeps the inside cool and safe from the world. The streets and the yards are also made of stone, creating a gray landscape that blends into the mountains around it. It is a community that decided to use what they had to build something that time could not wash away. Walking here is feeling the strength of history written in pure rock. The stone does not speak, but it keeps 400 years of secrets. Bolivan Plateau, the ground of fire. In southern Laos, the earth is a bright red color. It is the result of volcanic lava that cooled down millions of years ago. Today, that soil, rich in minerals, is the heart of coffee in the country. The plateau rises 1,200 meters above the sea, creating a cool climate surrounded by jungle. The villages live off what grows from this fertile ground, growing beans that travel all over the world. It is a landscape of sleeping volcanoes and giant waterfalls, where people have learned that the fire of the earth, after a long time, turns into life and food for everyone. Red earth is the gift the volcano left behind for all us. Indene, the forest of brick. In Myanmar, a hillside is covered by 1,600 ancient structures that look like they are growing out of the dirt. Indene is a village that lives among ruins of brick stupas that are falling apart because of the rain and time. Many are tilted or broken by the roots of trees, creating a holy and wild landscape. To get there, you must travel 8 kilometers through a narrow canal. The most powerful thing is seeing the local people trading and living their daily lives right under these monuments that are crumbling. It is a dance between the eternal and the fragile on a forgotten mountain. Living among ruins is accepting that everything changes except our daily faith. Ban Rak Tai, tea among the clouds. 1,800 meters high, right on the border with Myanmar, there is a tea village called Ban Rak Tai. It was started by people who brought their mud houses and traditional tile roofs to these steep mountains. Because there is no flat ground, they planted tea in terraces that wrap around the hills, making perfect green lines. The lake in the middle reflects the houses and the mountains, creating a picture of total peace. It is a community that turned being alone and being high up into their greatest strength, making some of the best tea in the whole region. A sip of tea at the top tastes like hard work. Trunyan, the tree of scent. On the shores of a lake, inside a volcano crater in Indonesia, the village of Trunyan keeps a tradition that challenges the senses. Here, they do not bury the dead. They place them in bamboo cages under a holy tree called Taru Menyan. The amazing thing is that the tree gives off a natural perfume that takes away any bad smell. It is a life between volcanoes and deep waters where death is not hidden, but part of the natural world. It is a mysterious place that reminds us We are part of a cycle where the earth and the spirit meet under a soft shadow. Living with ancestors under a tree is understanding the natural cycle of life. Which of these impossible locations truly surprised you the most? It's fascinating to see how tradition and survival blend in such extreme environments. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like to support our work. Keep watching our content to travel the world from home, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.